We are
Okay.
live right now on Instagram,
Yep.
Twitter X,
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn, YouTube. Your Instagram, my Instagram.
It
I think we're
is.
doing this.
I don't see mine. Okay, maybe I won't see the live button then. Do you see the live button?
Maybe we won't. We have 7 people watching right now, though. I mean, I love. Hey, hey, 7 people watching. So we're
Oh.
we're doing a little experiment on our. We're using Restream, and
Yep.
we are because we there has been a lot of health news this week, and we want to talk about it with
Yep.
me, Dr. James. If you're watching on my platforms, you probably know who I am, and that is Alice Benjamin, America's favorite nurse.
Hello, everyone. Yes, Alice Benjamin, clinical nurse specialist, family nurse practitioner. Excited to be here, James. Lots going on in the news that I think I know that we should be talking about so we can guide people through the many chit chat conversations and things that are happening because a lot of speculation going on right now.
I mean, a lot of speculation going on. Hey, we have a comment, Dr. Farah Laurent,
Oh, yes. Oh, she's on LinkedIn.
on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Yep.
Live. Okay.
So this is great. Here's the only thing I'm trying to figure out. I might have to look on my phone. I'm trying to make sure that we are actually live on Instagram
I don't
as well as these.
Instagram. None of my stuff says live. Dr. Farah, are you seeing us both live on LinkedIn?
Just on LinkedIn, I think.
But is she seeing it through your LinkedIn? Probably your LinkedIn, not my LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is interesting though. I mean, listen, wherever you are, we got 20 people watching, and I
Oh, well,
kind of
that's
want
great.
y'all. We want to have a conversation because there has been a lot of really intense health conversation. Hello, Dr. Farah
Yes.
Laurent. A lot of health conversation this week, but today's news was kind of a big deal. So I know a lot of people don't actually like follow the royals, if you will, the British royals. There are lots of royals, but Kate Middleton has been
You're royal.
there's been a lot of speculation, right, about where has she been? Why are there doctoring pictures? She was in the hospital. They announced she had a surgery, but they didn't say what it was about. And
Right.
it's just been a lot of mystery. Well, today, and Alice, I'm gonna let you sort of talk more about this because you know a few more details than I, but about it was released that Princess Kate,
Yep.
gonna be queen someday,
Yes.
has cancer. And it's answering a lot of questions about like where has she been for the last few months.
Yes, I think there's been a lot of chatter the last couple of weeks, months, should I say, about how come we haven't seen Kate out in the public. A lot of speculation about did she have, we knew of this abdominal surgery. People were speculating that she had maybe elective abdominoplasty gone wrong. There's speculation she's not looking well because Prince William's cheating on her, like so many different things. And I know one thing's for certain. We weren't seeing Kate Middleton as we would normally see her, and people got curious. They got to talking, speculating. But today, in a formal announcement to the world, um, Kate Middleton announced in her video that she released that she indeed was seen by her healthcare provider, was found to have some type of precancerous cells, had an
Mm.
elective abdominal procedure to remove said cancerous cells, went back, and it was found that as they evaluated that procedure that she was found to have some cancerous cells and at that time elected to begin early chemotherapy. So she didn't share what kind of abdominal cancer she has. We're not going to speculate. She is 42 years old. So, I mean, the first thing I thought about, I'm just going to be honest, is I thought of, well, what cancer screenings do we have that start at that age, right? And
Mm-hmm.
started trying to think about the potentials. But the truth is, we don't know. We don't know. We just know that she was propelled to share this information with the world because, as a public figure, and I don't know, James, Dr. James, you tell me how you feel about this. Public figures do have this um, kind of, I don't, it's like an unwritten rule or this pressure that they feel to share their personal health and personal affairs with the general public. And let's be honest, the public's often very demanding and feel
Very.
entitled to know about these things. Like, let's take Jamie Foxx, for example. Everybody want to know what happened to Jamie Foxx. When Chadwick Boseman was looking more frail than usual, people wanting to know what's going on, what's going on. So,
Right.
what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, this is really interesting because And that's, we definitely want to know your thoughts too in the comments.
Yeah.
So we're trying Restream for the first time.
Yes.
So I think we're streaming on Instagram, but I'm not sure. But on the other platforms, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, whatever. So leave some
Okay.
comments. If I can see them on Restream, we'll respond to y'all. Because we want to know what y'all think. Because what's really interesting about this is that, you know, at the end of the day, when you are a public official or a public figure, you are held to a different set of standards, at least like journalistically. As someone who, my bachelor's degree is in broadcast journalism, that's what we were taught, right? You, public officials and public figures, are held to different standards in terms of the information that we know about them. So things like, and this is not necessarily my example, but you invited us to your wedding. You've invited us to the birth of your children. You've invited us to all of these things in your life. You knowingly took this role to be one of the most public figures on earth. Then does that then allow us to also have access to your health? And I don't know. I think it's a really complicated question, because there can be, and Alice, you bring up this thing about screening. There
Yeah.
can be some really, really powerful things that happen with celebrities talking about their health, right? I think like the first person that comes to my mind is Demi Lovato, has done wonders for people talking openly about their mental health
Yep.
and polysubstance abuse and the intersection of those things, right? And so I know some people are like, oh, celebrities, I don't really care if they have depression, whatever, right? Okay, great, but it does impact some people. So people who are fans of Demi Lovato, and Demi Lovato's like, great, y'all have depression and bipolar disorder and all these things, it's powerful to those people. So we talk about the screenings that Kate Middleton might be the right age for, and she's now becoming, you know, saying she's public about having cancer, but we don't know what kind of cancer yet. This could be really empowering for other people for their own health.
It could be. And first, let me say this. I think there is public curiosity because these are very beloved people, right? Or people who are in positions of authority, who are responsible for a lot. So, for example, whenever something happens with President Biden, he trips and falls. There's a question about, his health. When it was President Trump at the time, questioning his mental sanity, because these are people who are in very powerful positions, who are in positions to the decisions they make impact the masses. So, when it comes to like people in those roles whose decisions, whose ability to think, respond, react, influences the masses, I can see how we have a genuine interest.
Right.
But then I'm just gonna be honest, some of y'all just nosy. We just nosy, or we want to know. But like you said, to your point, you invited me to your home. You invited me to this. Why are you closing the door on this particular event? And I could say that obviously it's a personal choice. We're going to be mindful and respectful of HIPAA. Absolutely, right?
Right.
Privacy. However, you also brought up a good point that when someone of that public figure or statue shares their experience or information about a particular health condition, because of the attention that they're able to garner, it actually serves as a platform for health education, empowerment, and helping to inform people about different health issues so they can then be more aware of it and make choices for themselves so they can live healthier lives. So, so when we talk about Kate having cancer, and although we don't know what kind of cancer, this will cause a lot of conversation around the dinner table, in the line at Starbucks, about about all cancer. Man, my stomach hurts. When's the last time I went to see my healthcare provider? Have I had a screening? I've been ignoring. Why does my stool look like that? It's going to start conversations, and hopefully, we want the best for Kate, but this will also then spark further conversation for people to further investigate their health and make
Right.
decisions for themselves and their families.
Yep. I could not agree more. And I think that is the power of, particularly Alice, what you and I do in terms of being healthcare professionals in the media. Like, we see the power of media
Mhm.
in influencing people's health. And that's the angle that I come at this from. And I think we come at this from, not at the angle of, and I don't want to be explicitly clear, like neither Alice or I know Princess Kate. We have not treated her. We are not privy to any of her like health information. And if we were, obviously we wouldn't be talking about it. But like, it is this fine line of protecting this person's privacy in a health situation while also understanding that she's a public figure, while also understanding that whatever cancer this ends up being, I hope she beats it.
Yeah.
Glad to hear they're starting early chemo and all of the things. That's what matters the most. But then secondarily, there is a tremendous power in her being able to like potentially influence people into getting screening, because there are, again, I know a lot of people feel some kind of way about the Royals. I get it. I don't necessarily put them on the pedestal that a lot of other people do, but that's a different type of conversation. But we sticking with health here.
Yeah.
But I think there are millions of people around the world who really do revere her so much and her position and her title. And so if this can really move the needle with that, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
I think so too, James. And I also want to say this, just as much as we are healthcare providers, we're also health consumers. And while we, each of us have our own specialties of things, I don't claim to know everything. And so I myself, although I'm not necessarily someone who follows like celebrities every waking moment, when I hear something, especially if someone's talking about their breast cancer, you've heard different celebrities, athletes, public figures talk about health conditions, I pay attention,
Right.
especially if it's something not within my specialty. And and I'm going to be honest, the first reason why I'm wanting to be attentive is because I want to know what, is this something that can affect me? Something, media, I believe, is a platform for health education, sharing important information. Because let's be honest, without the only time, when do you get guided healthcare information as a health consumer? When? You get it at your visit with your primary care provider,
Right.
if you see a specialist, if you go to urgent care, if you go to an emergency room. That's really when you receive it. I mean, I know you can be married to a nurse, a doctor, and all those things. That's great. But your objective healthcare provider, you only see them in your visits. Maybe you message them online, but that's just a fraction of the time that we have. So it leaves this big gap of window for people to be curious and, quite honestly, kind of forget what they learned at their providers, slack off on the
Yeah.
they were going to do. And so when examples like this come into the media for us to talk about, I think it's really helpful and important. It's not to sensationalize or uh, it's not to sensationalize a particular condition or to just be gossipy, but it's really to kind of springboard into other conversations. So I think also, James, and this is one of the things that I know you're really good at, is being respectful and mindful of the sensitivity around the situation.
Sure.
Um, and this is especially so, like, especially if it's been someone's died of a drug overdose or certain things. We have to be very sensitive to the situation. And quite honestly, there are some things we won't necessarily talk about right away because we want to allow for there to be some, what's the word I'm looking for, James? Sometimes you can't talk about something too soon because of I don't know, because of the sensitivity of nature or just how you approach it
Yeah.
is very delicate.
Well, totally. And out of respect for that person and their family. And
Yeah.
um, like I said, we believe so much in the power of media to influence and influence people's ability to feel empowered about their health, right? Like
Yep.
that's the most important thing. But at the same time, I think it is really important for everyone to remember that celebrities is people too, right? Public figures is people too. And this woman just announced to the whole damn world that she has been battling cancer while everybody has been talking about this mess behind her back. Not even behind her back, to her face in the tabloids or whatever, about she's cheating, this and that happened, there's abuse. I don't know, maybe all of that is going on, but now she is also talking about this health thing. And I think it is just that we need to allow for there to be a space for nuance
Yep.
and complexity in these conversations.
Yep.
And it's important for people like you and I to definitely not speculate on what we think is going on without any knowledge. But then when and if Kate ever shares with the world the type of cancer she has and her treatment and things like that, we will absolutely
Right.
download, circle back, and follow up, like corporate Aaron says. We'll download, circle back, and follow up with y'all about what that means and screening and all that type of stuff.
Now you brought up a good point. So we're not going to speculate, but here's the thing. I think sometimes, as healthcare professionals, sometimes we're this is a very tricky space in media. You may be asked to speculate depending on the outlet, right?
Right.
Um, and so there's some responsibilities that we have as healthcare providers. We have a duty to protect the public, be share evidence-based practice, and be reasonable in the things that we share. But let's go ahead and talk about it, James. So Kate Middleton, otherwise healthy, 42-year-old mother of three, and wife here.
Yep.
Um, she's 42, and this is I'm just gonna be honest, especially as a woman. I was thinking, 42 years old. Okay, what cancer screenings do I have by this age? We know that Pap smears will
Hmm.
begin after the age of 21. Um, Breast cancer screening, although she's said abdominal breast cancer screening, generally 40, 45, depends on your provider and if your health risk factors could be lower. Um, Colon cancer screening, they've lowered that age to 45 sooner if you have family history. And so I'll be honest, and again, I do not know what kind of cancer uh, Kate is experiencing, but knowing that as a healthcare provider, it made me think, was she having symptoms? Was there something that brought her in sooner? Was she not feeling well, or was this an incidental finding? She had something else done. We
Right.
don't know, but I think one of the takeaway message I would say with that curious and maybe perhaps gossipy little mind of mine there was, do have I done all my cancer screenings? That's really what I
Mm.
want. Like, while I'm over here worried about someone else, have I done what I'm supposed to do for myself? Point, period, blank.
Right.
Have I
Wait,
done all this health cancer screenings and early identification that I could do it in myself? Learning from Kate.
but
Learning from Kate.
correct. Even without knowing what she has,
Yeah.
we can still be like, I just had the pleasure and fortune and good luck of chatting with my friends over at KTLA. Those of you who live in LA, Channel 5 yesterday, we talked about March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. So again, those of you who are new, we got some numbers are going up. Folks are joining us on all different types of platforms, by the way. Please
Right.
leave a comment. We want to hear what you're saying. But also, we might not be able to see it because we're using Restream for the first time on
Yes.
multiple channels, and I don't know if we set it up right. So,
Right. But this is the first of many that
but the
Dr.
first
Nick
of
Nurse
right,
Alice will be having.
we
So
we're gonna keep doing these, so we'll figure it out. So try to leave some comments if you can. I know we're seeing people's comments at least on
right.
LinkedIn, but
Um,
and I think YouTube, if any YouTube comments are coming through. Anyway, March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, and
yeah.
so Alice, you just said it big time. But we played this fun little game. Maybe I should play this with you, Alice. We played
Yeah.
this fun little game called Myth versus Fact
Okay.
about colorectal cancer screenings.
Let's do it. Which,
Oh,
by
are
the
you?
way, I've had both. My upper and lower, rooter to the tutor, I have been screened. I
Say
have.
that again.
From
Rooter,
the
rooter.
rooter to the tutor. Yes.
You are too funny. Okay, so I think this is going to be kind of a fun way. And if y'all know this, if y'all want to chime in the chat, we'll. I
Yes.
wish I had a little buzzer too, but like do 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 do. So, all right,
Okay.
Alice, myth or fact about colorectal cancer, because March
Okay.
is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. Colorectal cancer is rare. Myth or fact?
Myth.
Myth. Bing, ding, 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 ding. So, colorectal cancer is actually the second leading cause of cancer death behind lung cancer. Like globally, lung cancer is number
Yes.
one.
Okay.
About 1 in 25 women and 1 in 23 men will be diagnosed with some form of colorectal cancer in their lifetime. So I like to tell people, think about watching a football game. I'm a big NFL fan. It's like
Okay. I
it's
just
like
like watching the guys. Go ahead.
you said watching guys. It's the thing. I'm
Ah!
gonna be canceled for being an NFL fan. I know, but so I'm an NFL fan. But if you're looking at the field,
Yes.
statistically, one of those men on the field at any point in time will be diagnosed with colorectal cancer in their lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a big deal. All right, very good, Alice. You have
Very good.
1 point. Next one: statement, myth or fact? Colorectal cancer screening starts at age 45.
I feel like that's a trick question. Reason being, I think 45, it was lowered from 50 to 45. However, if I have certain risk factors and people in my family tree have other certain cancers, I should go get sooner. Am I right?
Ding, 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 ding.
Yay! Yes.
So the technical answer is fact, right? Like,
Oh, okay.
so screening for everyone. So if you're at average risk of
Yes.
colorectal cancer, you should start your screenings at 45. And
Hmm.
screening includes the stool tests and a colonoscopy or a flex sigmoidoscopy. And
Oh,
there's a new blood test that's coming out, but I don't know a ton about it yet. But it's
okay.
supposed to be extremely, extremely good.
Okay.
Um,
Well, I have a question then. I have
yeah,
a question.
yeah,
And you know what? And for those who are listening, if you're healthcare providers, this is things are always changing. Things we learn it one way in school, things are changing. So it's important to stay current with guidelines. I thought that if you have a colonoscopy where they're looking the full thing, you can be you provided it's fine, right? Um, that you can go and you're not required necessarily to have one anywhere between I think it's 7 to 10 years. That and that or you do the stool specimen, which in the stool specimen they're looking for blood, right? It's going to be a hit or miss. You might get, you could possibly miss something, but you could do the stool every year. Is it not either or do you have? Is it both? I guess
it
both would be great, but I don't know if insurance pays for that. I'm just gonna
both would be great.
talk about it.
It can be either or because the efficacy
Yeah.
of the stool test is really high.
Okay.
So it's really good. The stool tests are really good. They're pretty accurate. So generally speaking, if you are of average risk,
Yep.
you will likely they may start you with a stool test. Now,
Hmm.
here's the interesting part about stool tests. A stool sample can be reactive, meaning it's like reacting to something, but well, I don't want to give it away. Hold on, because that's another question.
Okay. What's
Stool
up?
test or a colonoscopy, those are both considered
Yes.
screening tools,
Get
okay?
something. Whichever one you're gonna do, just get something.
Do
I'd rather you get
something.
something than nothing. How about that?
Yep. Average risk start at 45. Those
Yep.
of you with higher risk, so if you are Black, if you have a family history, if you have inflammatory bowel diseases like ulcerative
Yep.
colitis or Crohn's disease, you have had any other type of cancer ever,
Hmm.
or you have been radiated in your belly or your pelvis for another cancer. For those folks who are at higher risk. You need to have
Okay.
a conversation with your primary care provider about when you should start colorectal cancer screening because it will be probably younger than 45.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay, are you ready for question number 3?
We're only on number three. Oh Lord. Okay, go.
I know. Okay. Myth or fact? America's favorite nurse, Alice Benjamin.
Yes.
Colorectal cancer can be detected and prevented with screening.
Colon cancer can be prevented and be
Yep. Colorectal statement, myth or fact? Colorectal cancer
fact.
can be detected and prevented with screening.
That is a fact because you get to go in there and see. And if they see something fishy or looking rough, you just snatch that little biopsy, snatch that up. We're going to send it to the lab. We're going to cut something out. We're going to cauterize something, but they're in there.
They're in
So
it.
listen, while you're in there, please do something. Don't come back out and come back in. Because it took a lot for me to drink this fluid that y'all asked me to clean these out.
Ooh,
I need you to do everything you can while you're in there. Hello.
baby, that is intense. That the prep, that's the worst part. Because a lot of people get there like, you're gonna put this thing on my butt and you're gonna do this whole thing or whatever. First of all, you don't feel it. Like you
Oh,
don't
you
even know
think?
that it happens.
Yeah.
They do the little like, all right, Mr. Simmons, count backwards from 10, and you're like 10, 9, and you wake up in recovery. Right?
Yes.
Like that's it, just boom.
Exactly.
It is that fast. So you don't feel anything. But the worst part is the night before, and you gotta
Oh,
drink all this stuff and you just it's all coming out.
okay. Can I just offer a tip to my people out there?
Please.
Whether you're a healthcare provider, this is someone's you. What I did, because I knew I wasn't going to drink all that stuff. I'm not saying not to drink it, but I just physically, I drank as much as I could to like, it's just being honest, because I want you to know what to expect. Because if I didn't tell you the truth and told you it tastes like bubble gum, you'd want to slap me.
Right.
But so what I did 3 days prior, I started just eating like mashed potatoes, soup, light things. So I didn't. So whatever was in that GI tract was going to work itself out, and then when I drank the prep, wouldn't be too much to have to go out. So in the event that I really, really, really couldn't drink it all, it wouldn't. It'd be less of a problem. So don't go eating a steak and the night before or whatever. I kind of soft liquid diet. I did myself and self instituted the first couple days before I knew I was going.
Right.
Just a tip. It'll be easier for you because that stuff, baby.
it makes all the difference. No,
Yeah.
you're very smart to offer that as a tip. Sorry, I was looking away. I'm trying to see if we actually on that. We got 68 people watching. Listen,
Yes. Okay.
I'm really excited that y'all are watching whatever platforms you are
I think
on.
on
I know
LinkedIn.
what I think. Well, LinkedIn, YouTube,
Yeah.
Twitter. I know a couple people watching on my Twitter right now. So listen, I feel really bad. I know one of the best things about going live. So y'all, 68 people who are watching across all our platforms, pay attention for just a second. One of the best things about going live is that you get to interact with us real time.
Yeah.
Alice and we're going to start doing this more often, a
Yep.
lot, and talking about health things and whatever. And it's super fun, and we're going to bring our fun energies to it.
Yep.
But we're trying to do it on multiple platforms. So we started doing it with Restream today. And while we figured this part out, what we did not figure out was to make sure that we could see all of the comments in my little Restream studio here.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that some of y'all are commenting. In fact, I know you are, and we can't see it. So our sincerest apologies. We are not ignoring your comments.
Yep. We're not.
Please DM us or whatever you need to do. We'll try to get to some of your questions, but we will figure this out for the next time that we go live, which is going to start being much more often. So while you're at it, turn on your little notifications on whatever platform you're on.
Welcome to the Dr. James Nurse Alice show.
Ding, 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 that part. Alice, we are only on question number 3.
Oh.
We're moving on to question number 4.
This is okay.
So far, you're 3-0. So far, you're 3-0. You got.
Okay, let's do
you got
it.
all of them. You got all of them. I like being in the position of power, by the way, where I'm like, I'm the one that.
But I'm knocking it out the park. I got them. Got them. Okay, let's go.
Okay. Question number 4. Statement. Statement number 4. Myth or fact? Alice Benjamin, America's favorite nurse. The biggest risk factor for developing colorectal cancer is a family history. Myth or fact? Do 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 do.
Family
Do
history.
do 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 do. Do 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 do.
I'm going to say yes, it is.
You're saying fact.
I'm saying fact.
The answer is myth.
Oh,
I know. This one is really tricky. Lots of people believe that family history is the biggest risk factor for colorectal cancer. But interestingly, 75% of people who are diagnosed with colorectal cancer do not have a previous family medical history, meaning the overwhelming majority of people who are diagnosed with colorectal cancer do not have a family history. So don't get it twisted. While family history is a big risk factor,
yes.
if you have a colon,
okay.
You are at risk, which is almost everyone. If you have a colon, you are at risk for colon cancer. Like, full stop.
Yeah.
Which is why everybody needs to start screening at 45. Or if you have those risk factors we talked about a minute ago, you need to get screening earlier.
Yes.
Some of the other risk factors, though, so not family history. Do you recall some of these maybe off the top of your head, Alice? And if you don't, that's okay, because I didn't. I was the one that had to do the prep so that I could ask you these questions. That's why I didn't prepare Alice for this at all, y'all. I was throwing her in the deep end of the pool.
Yeah. And I knew all these. I really knew all these, especially when it's something that you're going through. Because I remember I had a colon cancer screening, and I had it before 45 for another reason, but they did the rooter and the tutor. But let's see. I believe smoking.
Yep, absolutely.
Increase in alcohol intake.
Yep. Got it for all cancers.
Yes. Those are the 2 that I know the most. I'm sure there are other ones out there, but those
you're on
2,
it.
Okay.
Age.
Oh yeah, age.
So while we are seeing a really significant, and we're not scare tactic people, okay? So I use this word, I will use it sparingly, but I mean it when I say it. Kind of a scary increase in the number of young people being diagnosed with colorectal cancer. Age, though, it's much more prevalent in people over 65. Previous history of inflammatory bowel syndromes. So like ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease are the 2 that most people know. Folks who have those, or like Lynch syndrome, right? Lynch syndrome is like this rare kind of colorectal precancerous syndrome. And cured meats.
Ooh, a lot of y'all in trouble. Well, I'm just it's well, maybe not, maybe not. But
Ain't
isn't
it true?
cured
But
meats
that
are everywhere, aren't they? Sandwich meats,
everywhere.
baked meats
That charcuterie board, baby. Oh, listen, a little charcuterie now and then.
is okay.
Please, let us live. Let me live, Dr. James. Let me live. Yes, have a little charcuterie now and then, but maybe try to get it uncured and maybe don't have it like every weekend. And just in general, the thought process is that a lot of this like super mega ultra processed food,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting into
Oh
snake
yeah.
oil territory here, but like super processed food types of things is really starting to increase people's risk of colorectal cancer.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting about this is that, you ask a lot of GI surgeons, a lot of colorectal cancer specialists, they will tell you that colorectal cancer is 100% preventable.
Yeah, with lifestyle changes. The lifestyle choices you make really can make a difference. You might not feel the difference today or tomorrow or next week, but every day, over weeks, over months, over years, those incremental impacts are going to make a big difference.
Yep.
And you raise a good point. We don't want anyone to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to have a charcuterie board ever again,
Mm-hmm.
in moderation. But I also do think, Dr. James, and you mentioned this earlier, we're starting to see younger people with this. I can't help but believe it's because of the way our lifestyle's been headed. Everything's quick, fast, in a hurry, processed, and our lifestyle and the party till you drop type of all that is really contributing to the risk factors that put us in these situations. So perhaps
Mm-hmm.
the lifestyle changes over the years, what's been socially acceptable has is now showing up in clinical presentation and in diagnosis with people at much younger ages when it used to be. Like
Yep.
like back in the days, McDonald's and stuff like that was like luxury. Not everybody ate that. It's like not just picking McDonald's, but certain foods we just didn't eat. We ate more fresh, more. We didn't go out to eat all the time. A lot of the eateries that are available to now on every single corner, every 10 feet, that didn't have we didn't have that before. So
Yep.
we had to walk places. We didn't have scooter boards and all this.
Not scooter boards. No, you said we didn't have those damn these young kids and
No.
whippersnapper scooter boards. But you're right. Even like listen, like I just literally Googled because I remembered this source when I was doing my research. Like even Yale Medicine. At the end of the day, we don't actually know specifically why younger folks there's this rise of colorectal cancer in
Mhm.
younger people. It's thought to be one of my favorite words, multifactorial,
There you
but higher like smoking, consistent alcohol intake, lower fiber, higher processed foods, sedentary lifestyle. Again, I will use this word carefully as well, but obesity. And the asterisk on the word obesity is, I know it's kind of a dirty word, but also people with excess adipose tissue, that does not always cause health issues for everyone. Okay. So just
go.
because you have a bigger body does not mean you are in poorer health. Okay. I want to be explicitly clear about that. But for some people, that is the case. So for some people, that can be, and the hormonal changes that go along with that
Mhm.
can be potentially contributing to that, literally according to Yale Medicine.
Right. Okay.
So real food. I always tell people, when they're like, Dr. James, how do I eat better? I'm like, first of all, I'm like, girl, we all trying to figure that out, aren't we? But second of all, if you cannot identify where this thing was walking, swimming, or growing, don't put it in your mouth. My example, Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
Not
There,
potatoes.
there is not a person on earth who likes Flaming Hot Cheetos more than me. But there is not a Flaming Hot Cheeto tree. Like, I can't just go pick it off a tree or pull it out the ground. That thing had to be processed within an inch of its life before I put it in my body. So that is not real food. That's a product that happens to be edible.
Mm.
And things like that tend to contribute to this like chronic inflammation and what we think maybe, even according to the Yale medicines of the world, might be contributing to these higher rates of colorectal cancer. So just eat real food, preferably not as much meat as we all probably eat.
Yeah.
Try to cut down on the meat. I mean, go vegan if you can, but that's a lot.
Yeah. I've never seen a Cheeto tree. So
But see, when you start to think about it, you're like, damn, what did I put in my mouth today
Hold on.
that was growing? You're like,
That
shit.
Cinnabon did not come from a tree.
Not Cinnabon. Okay, final question, Alice, and then we're
Yes.
gonna let everybody get out of here. Listen, because there are 70 of y'all in here right now. That is fantastic. We really do appreciate everywhere
Yes.
that you are. We have more folks on LinkedIn.
Yes. And can I just
Um,
say something, Dr. James?
please, yeah, of course.
Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. You know, the Dr. James Nurse Al show, you will be seeing a lot more of this. James is like, what? But
No,
yes,
I
you'll be
mean,
seeing a lot.
I'm trying to
Gabe
find my
showed up.
questions because I'm
But
ready to get you.
right. So no, but thank you so much to everyone who's tuning in. If I may ask, if you could please, because we work really hard to talk to people before they become our patients. Like this is our whole mission in doing this. Whether you're a healthcare provider, whether you're truly a patient and you do something else, we're all health consumers. So at the end of the day, what I'm asking is if you guys wouldn't mind supporting us. And how do you support us? Liking, following, sharing our content, leaving comments. This is how these different platforms identify shows of interest, and they can boost us up so we can share this important health information with more of the masses because we get to fit into the algorithm however they see fit.
I love it.
Like, share, follow Dr. James
All the
and
things.
us.
All the things. And let us know what you want to talk about too, because listen, a
Yeah.
lot of this is going to be headline driven
Yep.
because like, baby, I just finished watching the Oprah Hulu special, but we're going to
Did
talk about
you?
that next
Yes.
week.
Yes. And also,
Wow.
let us know if you'd like to be a guest.
Yeah.
We don't claim to know everything, and we know that there's some awesome other providers out there, health enthusiasts, nutritionists, all of those things, and we'd like to invite you to the conversation as well.
Yeah. I love it. Dude,
Okay, I stalled for my question.
that is
What?
good. That is good. I love it. I love it. I love it. So stay tuned and don't forget to turn on your little bells, your little reminders so you see us when we
Subscribe.
go live. Okay. All right. Final question. Alice of the night. So you are like you got 3 right, 1 wrong. So I think you're gonna win the game anyway. But
Would I win?
final statement. We use both colonoscopies and stool samples to screen for colorectal cancer. A reactive stool sample is the same as a cancer diagnosis. Myth or
False.
fact?
Myth. That's
Myth.
a that's a
Exactly.
myth.
I love it.
There might be blood in your stool for something else. For you know, do Flaming Hot Cheetos do that?
Sometimes. Stupid. I love it. They sure do. Right. They'd be tearing me up. So, yeah, a reactive, it's primarily blood, although there are some
Yeah.
stool screenings that use blood and other things that they're looking for,
Yeah.
but it's primarily blood. So you can, and there can be different amounts of blood. There can be different
Uh-huh.
reasons why there's blood in your stool. There can be all these different things that are going on. So please know that if you get a reactive, meaning your stool sample is reacting to something inside of you, that there's the presence of blood at least.
Yep.
It doesn't necessarily mean cancer, but what it does mean is you got to do something about it.
Yes.
You need to go follow up with your primary. You need to call. You need to schedule an appointment. You need to go get that colonoscopy as a follow up. Like you got to be proactive and then do the next thing.
You raise a good point, and Dr. James. So we want people to do something. I think where some people find some frustration in the healthcare system, myself included, when you identify a problem, but or suspect a problem, and you want to seek care, and maybe you don't have health care insurance and don't know where to go. Or maybe you have health care insurance, but the provider that's available or in your network isn't available for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Or you meet a healthcare provider and heaven forbid, they're a butthead. They're not very kind. They don't listen. You feel just your symptoms and things you're reporting are dismissed or diminished.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a good relationship. So I think we want you to do something, but also we understand navigating the healthcare system it's like operating whitewater rapids sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Very, very much so. And thank you for bringing that up, Alice, because it's true. I actually think it's the number one thing that people reach out to me in my DMs about. Sex stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I can't get in to see my primary care provider or I can't get in to see the specialist for 7 months. Like, what should I do? Right. And that's a really tough thing because of course Alice and I, like, we can't give advice, like we can't give medical advice to you. That's never what this is. But it's tough. It is really, this is why when we talk about the healthcare system is broken and we're all trying to do everything we can to just like stay afloat while fixing it.
Yeah,
It's really important. So know that we see you and we feel you and we hear you when those things are going on. Keep trying. Also know, I always like to tell people that if you don't like your primary care provider or your specialist or whatever, you can fire us. You
yeah,
really can. You need to go somewhere where you feel comfortable. And it's not maybe necessarily going to be the easiest thing on earth for you to find somebody,
I
but
know.
it can save your life.
It's like dating. Sometimes you got to
Oof.
date around or meet the provider because you want to go somewhere where you feel listened to, because that's actually going to, build the trust and allow you to feel be in a safe space where you can report your symptoms, ask the questions you want. So like if you're participating in a particular lifestyle that is somewhat taboo, you might not feel comfortable talking to your provider. Or if you feel like your provider mentioned to you about your weight and diet and exercise and you weren't as adherent to that diet, you're going to maybe not be as truthful with the things you've been doing. We don't want that. We
Nope.
really want it to be a safe space where you'll be transparent, honest. We can answer the questions. I don't care if you ask me the same question every visit. Now I am going to say, okay, now, Dr. James, I know we talked about this. What else can I do to help support you? Which is why, again, I mentioned, what do you have outside of your healthcare providers, your visit? And although Dr. James and I are not necessarily your healthcare provider, we are providers. We care about the people, and we're hoping that we can provide you some tips, tools, and information to empower you to go back and have conversations, ask for care, demand care, if you will, for the things that you need. You're going to say, you know what, Dr. James Nurse Al said that I should get my colon cancer screening at 45. That's, for everyone. But because of X, Y, and Z, because I eat this, I do this, or family history, I should get screened sooner. That's what I need to do. But we
Yep.
want to make you feel empowered to ask that. And James, I know we're coming up on time, and we started this with Kate Middleton and abdominal cancer, and this is great. We went through this Q&A. I hope people learn from this. I also want to, before we go close out, to say, as much as we were talking about the physical, please understand that any type of cancer diagnosis or cancer scare actually carries a very heavy emotional and physiological impact. I, I would be remiss if I did not mention the importance of our mental health. As we were going through this, we talked about Kate Middleton being probably ridiculed on every single channel, tabloid, gossip blog, and everything. That's a lot. Everything from stories about her husband cheating to she had botched surgery, and then understand, she's a mother. Her kids are potentially being exposed. This is very stressful. There's a lot of anxiety, depression, anger, anxiety about the future, hopelessness, desperateness, fear of recurrence, fear of death, fear of pain. What's going to happen to, like, there's so many things that's going through the
Mhm.
person's mind. And if I'll just share this. So in the spirit of screenings, and listen, I'm all about sharing is caring, and sometimes personal stories can be of assistance and help with this. But I had my cervical cancer screening. There were some concerns about some precancerous cells. I had to wait 4 months before I could get my what's that, copal whatever thing. Listen, I'm not an OB/GYN, sorry, but that thing where they really take a closer look at the cells. Those 4 months, I was like, this is it.
Oh my God,
I was
Alice.
but and everything's okay. Everything's okay. I just have to go back for more screenings. But the thing is, you're sitting in that period of time like, what's happening? What is this? What is that? And mind you, you can go back and they'll say, oh no, everything's fine, or you know what, we're just gonna it's a watchful wait, or
Right.
whatever. That would be the best news, right? But if you do get a diagnosis, you feel like, I have been sitting here literally just kind of dying,
For
and that
four
is the worst
months.
feeling.
Yeah, of
That
course.
And so I want people to really, let's not forget about that. Let's not forget about the emotional and physiological stress. And even if it's not you, it's your loved one. It's hard to watch a loved one go through something that you can't help or you can't change.
Isn't it?
So, it's important that we
Mm.
show up for our friends and our family during this period of time. So that's why when people say, "Oh, we'd like it if you respect our privacy," because they're already going through a lot. They're already going through a lot, and
Right.
the thing not to do is to make it worse for them.
Yep.
Be supportive. Yep.
One
But I'm
100.
okay. I'm okay now. I did my thing and I'm fine. But it was a very scary 4 months while I was waiting.
I can only imagine. And this is obviously probably been a very scary time for Kate Middleton too, to bring it full
Yes.
Oprah full circle here, because that's how we started off. A really scary time for her. So no
Yep.
matter what, how you feel about the Royals, how you feel about Kate Middleton, how you feel about whether or not it's our business, her health as a public figure, it's a very complicated, complex conversation. But anybody who has a cancer diagnosis, we wish them the best. We wish them the best treatments available, and quick and speedy elimination of that cancer and recovery. So, and Alice, thank you for sharing yours. I mean, that's why we do this. So that people can see, not like you said, not only are we providers, but we're consumers, and we have had and have our own health issues as well. So, I just have to say thank you for y'all. There are still 72 of y'all hanging out with us 45 minutes later. We are wrapping this up right now. We're going to start doing this a lot more. In fact, we're going to get into a regular cadence, and we're going to make announcements, and we're going to have topics and guests and all those different types of things. Today was just like let's take a crack at this thing because we got a little time on Friday. We're using Restream, which is why I couldn't really see everybody's comments. So I promise you, we were not ignoring your comments on the other platforms, because right now we are simultaneously on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. But I did something wrong on the Restream. I can't see everybody's comments. So
listen, I know I did something wrong. I am not the tech person. Let me tell you, just be honest. I probably did everything all wrong, but y'all know where my heart is.
It's true. And listen, if somebody wants to help us out and produce this little thing, this little live, and whatever. Anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Are we saving this for future review? Or
Yeah. I'm gonna save this, and we're gonna chop it up and have some more content and all kind of stuff. So we really appreciate y'all being here. Thank you so much. Don't forget to follow. If you're watching on my platform, please do not forget to follow Nurse Alice at Ask Nurse Alice. If you are watching on Alice's platforms, please do not forget to follow me, Dr. James Simmons, at Ask the NP. And of course, turn those reminder bells on, like this stuff, comment, repost, all that kind of stuff. It really, really does help us out. It means a lot. And let us know what you want to talk about. And we'll see y'all next time.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us, guys.